This is the recorded lecture for Law 146, Law Enforcement Systems. This is Chapter 3, Organizing the Police Department. And so this chapter discusses leadership and important organizational concepts as it relates to police. And one of the main concepts that you're going to get into this chapter is chain of command. And while this may make sense to some of you who have experienced work in the work field or have even dabbled in law enforcement work, it's really an individual reporting to a direct supervisor. So in the police world, that is the police officer reporting to their next direct supervisor and not skipping any levels of command. So, for example, a patrol officer should report to their immediate sergeant, not to the captain or to the chief. And this is done so that there's no confusion, and so things can be handled at the appropriate level, and for a variety of other reasons, which you can read about in your textbook. Now, there are circumstances where the patrol officer would not have to report to their immediate supervisor. They could skip a level or two, and those would be emergency situations or situations where perhaps something, some type of corruption or something like that would cause them to need to skip that level and go higher up. So there are exceptions, but for the most part, police follow a chain of command. It's sort of militaristic in their approach. If you've ever seen an organizational flow chart, I believe there are some in the materials for the module. You can see how departments are structured and that chain of command flows up. The typical chain of command in a police department is officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or chief. But depending on the size of your department, you may have more positions in there or you may have less. Some departments may have a chief and one police officer, so there's really no in between. But larger departments are going to have multiples in each position, except typically there's only one chief. You can read more about this in your textbook about the different ranks within a police department, how to advance through the ranks, like how an officer could get promoted, and various ways that departments organize shift work within the police world. There's also some information on police unions and their function, and some of that material can be found in the reading materials for this week, and some of it is in your textbook. So be sure not to miss anything. The next concept is span of control, and this essentially refers to the number of officers or subordinates a supervisor can supervise effectively. And so your book, I'm not going to give it away, but your textbook gives a recommended number of officers that should be supervised by one supervisor. Kind of the reason behind that is if a supervisor or a sergeant has too many officers that they directly supervise, they may not be effective in their work and they may not be able to give them the attention they need. Conversely, if they don't have enough officers, that's probably a good problem to have. But you could also relate this to any jobs that you have now or experience you've had in the workforce, as far as, who your direct supervisor is and how many people that individual is responsible for. So although this chapter is specific to police because it's a policing course, a lot of these concepts carry out into other aspects of the business world and our lives.